Welcome to The Holistic Entrepreneur with success coach, holistic nurse practitioner, and best-selling author Bonnie Groessl. Bonnie shares inspirational and enlightening content to educate, empower, and facilitate well-being while nurturing the mind-body-spirit connection. This boost of positive energy will help you manage stress and make the most of your life, allowing you to thrive in the new normal. Now, please welcome the host of The Holistic Entrepreneur, Bonnie Groessl.
Well, welcome everyone. This is Bonnie Groessl, your host here at The Holistic Entrepreneur. You know, we've been talking about nutrition and some tips and guidelines and probably reminders of how to eat well, but that isn't always enough. Today we're going to talk about vitamins and minerals. Now, I'm so grateful that you are sharing your valuable time with me. I so appreciate you. So if this is your first time listening, welcome. And if you've tuned in before, welcome back. I hope that you find this will be another valuable episode with tips and insights to help you toward enhanced well-being. Now, I always want to remind you that the information presented here is educational, inspirational, and motivational in nature, but I always want you to just take what fits for you and simply let go of the rest. This show does not intend or imply to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment either. I always want to remind all of us of that little caveat before we begin. Now, the other thing that I like to do when we get together every week is to remind you to take a moment for you, to just stop and breathe. But breathe with intention. Notice your breath. So just taking a moment to just stop, take a breath in, and notice the air coming in, going all the way down to your belly. And as you exhale, notice how that feels, how that air feels going out. Exhale as long as you can. It helps you to relax more. And as you are breathing, taking a moment to just stop and simply breathe. I mean, you have to do that anyway. I want you to remember what a beautiful human being you are and how loved you are. So just stop and take a moment and notice. Now, maybe this is the only moment that you take for yourself today. It's so important for your well-being. The more you can do this, the better. And don't forget to check out the show page before you leave today. I always have links for you there, and you can connect with me at bonniegroessl.com, find out what's new and what's going on. And I'd love to hear how it's going with you. So please post your progress on the Facebook page at Coach Bonnie Groessl. That link is on the show page below as well. You can send me a private message or send me an email or just post something. I would love to hear how it's going as you work on your self-care and well-being in 2021. Now, today we're talking about supplements like vitamins and minerals for that little extra insurance. Now, I always want to remind you, though, to consult your physician if you want to take higher doses of anything, because some of them might affect the medicines that you're on, if you're on any medications. So let's dive into talking about how to get some extra insurance, because our food just isn't quite what it was 100 years ago. And besides, our lives are so busy, we often don't take the time to eat well. We don't take the time to sit down for a meal with our family. You know, even if people eat well, and a lot of people do not eat well, I recommend a quality, and I emphasize the word quality, multivitamin mineral supplement, along with a good amount of magnesium and vitamin D. And we'll talk a little bit more about that today. Now, our everyday foods just don't contain the nutrients that they did 100 years ago. And that's due to decades of commercial fertilization, which has really depleted the soil of most nutrients over the course of time. Vitamins and minerals are so important. They strengthen our immune system, they increase our metabolism, they give us more energy. And they also help our brains to function better by increasing our memory and concentration abilities. So taking a good quality multivitamin mineral supplement twice a day is really important. If you take it only once a day, it's like eating food only once a day, and then you have to wait another 24 hours to get more of that good nutrition. So I usually recommend a vitamin twice a day as opposed to just once. Now, nutritional supplements are regulated by the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, but they're regulated as food and not as medicine. So they don't have the same guidelines as over-the-counter or prescription medicines. And for that reason, it's worth it to check out the quality of a particular product. If there are a few companies in the United States that manufacture their products to a pharmaceutical grade, meaning that they voluntarily follow the same requirements for the FDA as they do for over-the-counter and prescription drugs. And it'll say this on the bottle. It'll say that it's made to a pharmaceutical grade, or it will have some information about that, because they want to let you know it's costs extra to do that, so they want to make sure that they use that in their marketing. So here's some things to look for in a good multivitamin mineral. You should have a full spectrum of vitamins and minerals. And the definition of recommended dietary allowance, or RDA, is really the minimum requirement to prevent deficiency problems like beriberi, which is a deficiency in thiamine, or pellagra, which is a deficiency in niacin. It's not the same as containing optimal amounts. So look for really higher percentages of RDA on the label. Lower percentages, it's to prevent deficiency diseases, and that's about it. And it should absorb well in your body. It should be bioavailable. Bioavailability means how well your cells of your body can absorb the minerals and the vitamins. And if you're curious, if you take a vitamin now, you could do this test at home. Unless it's a coated tablet, which is rarely the case, you can take one pill, one vitamin or vitamin mineral, and drop it into a glass of water and just let it sit there. See how long it takes to dissolve. A good product will dissolve in a couple of hours, and it won't take all day. Some of them never dissolve. There are porta potties all over the country full of vitamins because they never dissolved. And also, if you see the word chelated on the bottle, chelated minerals means that the minerals will absorb better because they're bound to something organic, usually an amino acid. And then you can look for the USP symbol, the United States Pharmacopoeia symbol. It provides assurance that the supplement is pure and safe and potent. What's in the bottle, what it says is in the bottle, is actually in the bottle. That's what the USP symbol will assure you of. Now, magnesium is our body's relaxation mineral. If we have enough magnesium, we feel calmer, we sleep better, we have more energy, and we generally just feel better. Magnesium is involved in more than 300 enzymatic reactions in your body. Consequently, it affects a lot of things. Many of us are deficient in magnesium. Magnesium is lost almost completely in the processing of packaged and fast foods, certain medications and supplemental iron and high-protein diets, and certain doses of high calcium will block its absorption. As far as the calcium thing, calcium is stronger than magnesium. It's a stronger ion. So when you take a calcium supplement with additional magnesium, it's blocking some of that magnesium. So we lose some of it because the calcium just pushes it out of the cell. It's stronger. Also, physical and emotional stress causes us to lose magnesium. And who doesn't have some sort of stress in their lives? So if you suffer from chronic pain, whether it's physical or emotional issues, you're most undoubtedly, you are stressed. Even extreme athletes like marathon runners or long-distance cyclists lose magnesium due to the physical stress of strenuous exercise. As magnesium leaves a cell, calcium jumps in because it's stronger, right? And the cell contracts. It gets squished up. So how do you think when your cells are tight and contracted? You don't feel so good. So most magnesium research is conducted outside the United States because the research in the United States is mainly the pharmaceutical industry funds most of it. So that's where the money is spent, is on drugs, not on vitamins and minerals. So it's not surprising that there's very little attention given to this. Magnesium-rich foods are things like spinach, other leafy green vegetables, pumpkin seeds, nuts, legumes, halibut as a fish, unprocessed grains, kelp, I don't know how many people eat kelp, and sea salt, to name a few. Now remember, foods don't have the same nutritional value as they did 100 years ago due to poor soil because of the commercial fertilization. So I recommend eating a healthy diet with magnesium-rich foods, and you may want to think about taking an additional, magnesium. Now, there will be some in your vitamin and mineral if you take vitamins and minerals. And if you take a calcium supplement, it should have some magnesium in there. But remember, calcium is a stronger ion, so you don't always get all of it. And also, calcium tends to be more constipating, while magnesium can cause some loose stools at higher doses. So if you take it in the same supplement, which often it is, you avoid these side effects, and that's one of the reasons they put it in there. Now, magnesium oxide is what you're going to find in most everything because it's relatively cheap. It's got a high amount of elemental magnesium, but it's not one that we can absorb very well. So there's only a small percentage of magnesium oxide that gets absorbed into our bodies. Instead, find a calcium supplement that has a better form of magnesium or take it separately. So like magnesium citrate, malate, glycinate, or taurate is better than magnesium oxide. Now sometimes they will chelate the mineral, the magnesium oxide, and then that's better because if it's chelated, remember it's bound to an amino acid and it will be absorbed in your body better. And real important note, if you're on blood pressure medicines, monitor your blood pressure because supplements can have an effect on this. Magnesium is one example. If you take higher doses of magnesium, you will probably need less blood pressure medication because it lowers your blood pressure. So just make sure you monitor it, let your doctor know what you're doing and all of that. And extremely high doses of magnesium can cause other health-related issues, but extremely high doses is like several thousand milligrams of magnesium, and I don't want you to do that. Just make sure you're getting some in your diet and in a multivitamin mineral, and maybe take a little bit extra if you need. Things like omega-3 in fish oils are sometimes referred to as the good fats. We talked a little bit about that last time. They benefit us in so many ways. They protect our heart and our brain, and really just about everything in between. If you're looking at fish oil or omega-3 in the store, look for two things on the label. This is real important. It should say on the bottle someplace, mercury-free or purified, because fish oil is made from fish in the ocean, right? And there's a lot of garbage in the ocean. You want to make sure the manufacturer purified the fish oil and took all that other stuff out of there. And then look for the active ingredients. They'll be listed as DHA and EPA. Those are the two main active ingredients in fish oil or omega-3s. It should have a good amount of those. Or it should, if it doesn't say anything about it, you might want to look at another bottle, so it should say something about it. And another option for omega-3, especially if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, omega-3 is also in flaxseed oil, and that's alpha-linoleic acid. Now, the major benefit is that it's made from a plant, and it's been with us for thousands of years. Now, the seeds need to be ground up to get to the oil. So if you're using flaxseed oil as your source of omega-3, make sure that you grind it up, because otherwise you won't be able to get at the oil. And then vitamin D is another thing that's really important. Sometimes it's called the sunshine vitamin, and it's so essential for our bodies. I mean, there's been lots in the news lately about the benefits of vitamin D and how most of us are deficient. And that you can do a simple blood test, have it done at your healthcare provider. They can check what your level of vitamin D is. And vitamin D is essential for strong bones, mental health wellness, your immune system, so many other things. And getting out in the sunshine is really the best way to obtain vitamin D. Don't you feel better when you're out in the sun? Now, you don't have to go sunbathing. You can just expose your forearms and your face. According to the Vitamin D Council, when in the sun, Caucasians produce about 10,000 units of vitamin D in a half an hour. Sunblocks block the absorption of vitamin D, so I advise spending 20 to 30 minutes outside without sunscreen, but don't do it at high noon when the sun is the strongest. Do it later in the day. Then go back inside and put on some sunscreen. This helps you to absorb the vitamin D. And don't shower immediately after coming in because that kind of washes it away. People with darker skin need the longer exposure, up to 6 times more sometimes. And in winter months, especially in the northern climates, it's not easy to get out into the sun. So then vitamin D3 supplements are helpful in the winter. And make sure it's vitamin D3 as opposed to D2 because, again, it absorbs better. So your action step for this week is to take a look at the vitamins that you take, if you take any, and read the labels. Know what's in it. You might even want to try the dissolve test. And if you don't take any supplements now, determine, is this something that you want to start? It's just so that you have that extra insurance, just because our foods are not as good as they used to be. So I hope that you have found this episode helpful. And until next time, I wish you health, happiness, and abundance. I want to thank you for joining me at the Holistic Entrepreneur Show today. I know that time is our most precious asset, and so I appreciate you spending your time with me. Now, my purpose is to be of the best service to this community. Whether it's your personal or your work life, I'm here to support you. The best place to get the latest scoop is at bonniegroessl.com. Everything is there. We can connect, and you'll find special offers and gifts that I have for you to help you attain the health, happiness, and abundance you deserve. And I encourage you to sign up for my monthly newsletter for more useful information and exclusive offers. The links are on the show page below. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to the Holistic Entrepreneur Show on your favorite podcast directory so that you automatically receive the newest episode when it's released. Until next time, this is Bonnie Groessl, wishing you health, happiness, and abundance.